In the headlines, SANU, NASA suspends strike action for 2 months. NBC gives shutdown broadcast stations till Tuesday to pay debts. Traders count losses as Borno government demolishes a cattle market. And on the foreign scene, Washington boasts military aid to Ukraine as strikes continue in the east. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining us. Now on the news in detail. And the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities and Non-Academy Staff Union of Allied and Educational Institutions on Saturday announced a suspension of their ongoing strike for a period of 2 months. And SANU's national president, Muhammad Ibrahim, disclosed this in Abuja. The union had called for the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, payment of earned allowances, usurpation of non-academic career positions by vice-chancellors, the inclusion of university staff school in the university community, non-payment of minimum wage arrears and funding of state universities. The strike by SANU and NASU has led to suspension in the issuance of academic transcripts and mobilization of graduates for the compulsory one-year service organized by the National Youth Service Corps. And the Zamfara State Police Command has begun discreet investigation into the death of a lawyer who was reportedly shot dead at the Gusau bypass. And Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer Muhammad Shehu told Trust TV that investigation had commenced to not only unravel the circumstances surrounding the killing, but also reveal the perpetrators with a view to apprehending them and making them face justice. The victim, Barrister Benedict Azar, who was killed on Thursday night in the Principal Associate Benedict Tongi Legal Practitioners Gusau in Zamfara State. Sources within the area said the gunman wanted to kidnap the victim in his residence at Saminaka area behind Federal Road Safety Corps bypass in Gusau metropolis, but he was able to escape with his car. The gunman later chased the lawyer to the expressway where they shot him dead. A police operative attached to Kurfi Divisional Police Headquarters have repelled an attack that have put down an unspecified number of attackers in the process. And about 40 terrorists armed with AK-47 rifles attacked Wakba village in Kurfi local government area and whisked away 2 persons who were rescued in a counter-attack. And Abdullahi Ahmadi had details of this and other happenings in Katsina. The report.
Responding to a distress call from the affected villagers, the divisional police officer in Kurfi mobilized his men, blocked all the exit routes to and from Wapa village. Moving forward, the tactical operatives, with the support of vigilantes and people from the surrounding communities, engaged the terrorists in gun battle and rescued the kidnapped victims. Many of the terrorists were killed and several others escaped with gunshot wounds during the encounter. The police are now combing the nearby bushes with a view to recovering the wounded and the dead bodies of the terrorists. We need to have an accurate information and a collaboration that works between security operatives and communities, especially on the bandits movement. The synergy must continue until the terrorists are defeated. The rescued victims have since reunited with their families, thanking the police operatives of Kurfi Local Government Division for their quick response. We were attacked and abducted by unknown gunmen, and as God would have it, we were rescued. The police and our local vigilantes responded swiftly. Many thanks to all of them.
suka shiga ɗaki na suka hasgo ni suka ta bugu na
The police and other local vigilantes deserve commendation, but our state actors, a lot needs to be done. Many communities no longer sleep. We are always at work, maintaining vigilance throughout the day and night. We are exhausted. The successful rescue operation is a clear indication that collaboration between security personnel and communities affected by the phenomenon will lead to the terrorists being defeated. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And in another sad development, an official of the Federal Competitive Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, in Katsina State, Mahibba Taiwa Abdusalam, is arrested over alleged murder of her boss, Julius Haruna. Until his death, Haruna was the Northwest Zonal Coordinator of the Commission. He was killed in his office after the suspect accused him of sexual harassment, the police said. Spokesperson of the Katsina Police Command, SP Gambo Isa, said the suspect had reportedly done a certain report for which she demanded 80,000 naira. However, Haruna directed the cashier to pay her 4,000 naira, saying that she did not work up to the amount she demanded. SP Gambo Isa said an argument ensued between the suspect and the deceased in the office in the presence of the cashier, who later left the two in fierce argument. The police said that the victim allegedly manhandled the deceased, tore his clothes and took his nude picture. Abdusalam rushed to the GRA police station and filed a complaint against the deceased for alleged sexual harassment. Police statement says investigation revealed that the suspect had fought four previous directors who were there before the deceased. He said investigation into the matter was ongoing. He said that after her report at the police station, some police officers were said to have followed her to the director's office only to meet him lifeless on the floor with the bruises on his body. And police in Yobe State said that 2 soldiers are arrested in connection with the killing of a renowned Islamic scholar, Sheikh Goni Aisami Samuel, murdered on Friday evening while on his way to Gashua from Kano. Multiple local sources allege that the cleric was killed by the soldiers after giving them a lift from Guru military checkpoint to Jaji Maji, a nearby community on the Karasuwa local government area of Yobe State. Reports said that he was shot dead while his car, a red Honda Accord, was taken away by the soldiers before they were apprehended by the police. Confirming the incident, spokesman of Yobe State Police Command, Dungus Abdul Karim, said the 2 arrested soldiers are Lance Corporal John Gabriel and Lance Corporal Adamo Gideon of 241 Battalion, Guru, Yobe State. He said that the 2 suspects have been taken to Criminal Investigation Department of the Command in Damaturu for investigation. And the popular Islamic scholar was buried on Saturday in Gashua town of Yobe State amid tears by thousands of his students, family members, as well as associates. And as this year's famine season continues, farmers in Guru local government area of Yobe State may be at risk of conflict with Fulani herdsmen following the disappearance of open grazing areas across the state. And Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that last year, farm produce worth billions of naira were destroyed following farmer-herders conflicts in Guru town. His report.
This is called Burtali among the locals in northern Nigeria, an open grazing area used by the Fulani herdsmen to travel and graze their cattle without necessarily crossing over to farmland. But this is disappearing these days.
For instance, this open grazing area is very important for the Fulani herders, which they used to travel and graze their animals. But today there is little or no grazing areas. That is why we always have issues with the Fulani herders.
According to All Farmers Association in Guru local government area of Yobe State, several farmlands were destroyed during the last farming season following a conflict between the livestock owners and those growing crops. Now the Fulani herders have arrived again, and farmers may be at risk of losing either their lives or their farm produce.
Last year, we had serious problem with the Fulani herders. They destroy our rice and other farm produce. This year too, we are still having problem with them there and there.
But the state government is assuring that adequate security measures have been put in place to prevent violence between farmers and herders around the area.
You see, last year we had farmer-herders conflict because of low rainfall, which led to inadequate feed for the herders. But this year, we had worked on our dam to help supplement the rainfall. Therefore, I'm assuring you that our farmers are safe this year.
Although Guru is agriculturally viable, but the gradual and continued disappearance of these open grazing areas may likely continue to threaten agricultural activities around the area. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Yobe.
And moving on, the Nigerian army has urged the public to disregard the report by an online medium that 234 soldiers withdrew from the army due to corruption and low morale, among other factors. An online platform had reported the report stated that none of the 234 soldiers had reached the mandatory retirement stage. But responding in a statement, the Army spokesman, Brigadier General Yema Nwachukwu, described this report as a concoction of the imagination of the unrepentant enemies of the nation and mischief makers, which should be ignored by the public. Nwachukwu said voluntary retirement is a routine exercise in the Army, adding it is within the rights of soldiers to withdraw from the service when they deem it fit and if such request meets certain conditions. And following the intervention of the Nigerian chapter of the International Press Institute, the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, has suspended the revocation of the operating licenses of 52 broadcast stations owing various sums in licensing fees. The NBC has now given the affected stations up to 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 23, to pay up their debts. In revoking the license on Friday, the Commission had ordered the stations off air beginning this Saturday. And citing Section 10, subsection A of the third schedule of the National Broadcasting Commission Act, Capt. No. 11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. After the announcement, IPI Nigeria engaged the Ministry of Information and Culture and the NBC and the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria bond to explore amicable resolution of the dispute, leading to the suspension of the ban. The Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union of Nigeria, RATAWO, on Saturday said the revocation of radio and television station licenses can escalate current security challenges in the country. General Secretary of RATAWO, A. Akposo, in a statement said the ravaging insecurity of lives and properties requires the Nigerian state to make information flow as free as possible. Akposo urged the regulatory agency to be lenient with most of the defaulting stations as they are yet to recover from the impact of COVID-19 shock. The RATAWO scribe also called on federal government to give special COVID-19 palliative to the broadcasting stations, considering the laudable role they played during the lockdown rather than shutting them down. The revocation of the license of Gombe Media Corporation GMC by the National Broadcasting Commission NBC, the Gombe state-owned broadcaster says its stations will be back on air within the next 72 hours. Speaking to Trust TV in Gombe, the Director General, Gombe Media Corporation, Kabiru bin Mohammed, said payment for license renewal is being processed to that effect. Ibrahim Ismail has more.
Gombe Media Corporation is a pioneer radio and television broadcaster in Gombe State. The state-run media organization is owing the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) license renewal fees for almost 8 years.
The amount is almost inherited because the previous government have been defaulters for about 8 years or 10 years, because it backdates to 2013 to date. So they have not settled anything. So we have just come, and everyone within the state and even outside knows how we came in with a lot of financial problems in the state. We have already processed. I believe even the immediate last executive council, a mention was made about the license fee, and the governor is ready to make payments immediately. But unfortunately today they have taken us by surprise, I can say, because they have given us actually a grace of time. That is why we took our time to also process.
Media experts say the revocation of the license of GMC and other broadcasters in the country by the regulator will affect smooth flow of information to Nigerians.
I know there are a lot of stations in Nigeria that are not paying or updating their license. But I think the timing is wrongly, and I want to believe that this is not the right time for NBC to take such a decision. But if we look at it, the situation we found ourselves, especially in the media cycle, despite the fact that we were having a lot of issues, most of the media outlets were affected because of these issues of COVID, and we all know what happened globally. And at the same time, the recent one was as a result of this issue, crisis between, or war between Ukraine and Russia. We all know that it has affected the economy, and I believe that is why, I don't want to speak for the media outlets, but I believe that is one of the reasons why media outlets cannot afford to pay or renew their license.
On Friday, the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) revoked licenses of more than 50 broadcast stations across the country over failure to renew operational licenses. The unpaid debt amounts to over 2 billion naira. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
You're watching Trust TV News Updates. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how EFCC tackles Gombe land scammers. This and other stories after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Trust TV News Updates. Before we proceed, a recap of our top stories. We told you that SANU and NASU suspend strike action for 2 months. And the NBC gives shutdown broadcast stations till Tuesday to pay debts. And moving to other stories, hundreds of shop owners are counting their losses after witnessing their structures being demolished at Kasuwan Shanu in Maiduguri. The market is the largest animal market in Borno State, where customers come from afar to buy and sell trade. The report.
The cattle market in Maiduguri is fondly called Kasuwan Shanu and has been a center of attraction for cattle dealers. Today, hundreds of shops have been demolished for reasons the traders described as owing none to the government. The demolition has caused other traders to fear for their goods, and as they are uncertain about what happens next. Modu Bukar, who runs a restroom facility that was partially brought down, said he and his colleagues were given few hours to vacate before the demolition exercise. Now I'm jobless because I cater for my family with what I get here. At this moment, I rely on God's hand. I engage in farming. I stopped because of age. I seriously want the government to do something. They destroyed our shops without compensation. They didn't tell us where to relocate. We have been into cattle business for 50 years. We call on the government to intervene because we are not happy.
As we know the economic hardship facing a lot of us in Nigeria, which is largely due to the incompetence of the APC administration, and for them to take such actions, I think is really not appropriate at this time. They should have given ample time, given ample opportunity to remove their goods, and then be given like another place where they can temporarily put their shit and sell their wares.
There are fears that with the market gradually transforming to an open field, it could signal the closure of Kasuwan Shanu market. However, some traders believe that whether or not the market is closed, business will continue in the open.
The hair extension industry has become a highly lucrative business with diverse opportunities and continues to gain a boost, especially among women folks. However, growth of the industry comes with a number of challenges on business owners as well as clients. Trust TV's Aisha Saliu takes a look at the economic consequences on hair extension.
African women are popular for carrying natural hair with beautifully crafted hairstyles, which are often time-consuming and energy-sapping due to hair texture. But that has all changed today with the advent of hair extensions and wigs, among others. The urge to look younger, save cost, encourage convenience are among the reasons for investment and usage of hair extensions.
I can't say it affects my business. It's actually improved my business because most people, they braid their hair. Some people say that once they braid their hair, it damages their hair. Maybe it's because the way the stylist do the hair or is not doing it properly, it might damage the hair.
I'll tell you that we're not finding it funny here. You can like, oh, if you come the week, you can like, oh, thank God I'm going with 10,000 naira. But these days, you can see what is inside there. People are weaving their hair instead of making their hair. Like me now.
And the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says Gombe State is battling a high rate of land fraud. The Deputy Commandant of EFCC Academy stated this in an interview with newsmen after a one-day capacity building for staff of Gombe Geographic Information System on curbing land fraud. Ibrahim Ismail reports. We'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin, but the Acting Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Idris Jare, says plans are underway to recruit additional 5,000 personnel into the service. Jare, who stated this while fielding questions from newsmen in Dutse on Saturday, said the gesture was aimed at addressing manpower deficit in the NIS. He added that the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, had sent a memo to President Muhammadu Buhari, who indicated his willingness to approve the request. The acting CG, who also paid a condolence visit to the family of an NIS personnel killed by gunmen in Birniwa local government area of the state, assured that the NIS will continue to protect Nigerian borders to enhance peace and development. The CG announced the donation of 4 million naira to the deceased family and the injured personnel, donated by one of NIS service providers and contents. And on the foreign scene, Washington on Friday announced that it will be providing $775 million of additional military aid to Ukraine. The news came as Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, is hit by fresh strikes, killing at least 15 people. And the Russian missile has hit a residential area in the southern Ukrainian town of Voronezh and located not far from a nuclear power station, wounding 12 civilians and heightening fears of nuclear accident. And meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has agreed in principle that independent inspectors can travel to the Moscow-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. A number of issues must be resolved before the inspections get underway. And finally, in sport, the federal government has set up a 12-man committee to work towards the successive production and second launch of the Sports Book of Record, with a view to documenting athletes' achievements for posterity. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, while inaugurating the committee on Saturday in his office in Abuja, called on committee to ensure the production and launch of a one-stop shop document for the country's sportsmen and women, as well as their achievements, both past and present, to ensure that their sacrifices are written in gold and documented accordingly. Represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Alhaji Ismail Abubakar Dare, urged the committee to be proactive and approach the assignment with utmost responsibility and patriotism. Responding, the chairman of the committee and director, Planning, Research and Statistics of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, Victoria Agbo, thanked the leadership of the ministry for the opportunity granted to them to serve and pledged the committee's commitment to the successful production and launching of the record book. And that brings us to the end of the news update at this hour. For more, you can follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.